You have tuned into The Ascension Show. Join T-Bone, Reverend Todd, and Northern Rebel for a kink-slanted freeform conversation podcast with topics related to healthy sexuality and the world around us.
I was only there for like a week, so I didn't see everything. There's some cool beaches too.
Cool, everything's up and running now.
Everything's beautiful here. It's really pretty epic, I have to say. I lived in LA for 3.5 years, and that was like never ever again.
I liked Los Angeles, but maybe it's different now. This was in the 80s.
Oh my God, in the 80s?
Yeah.
Oh wow, the 80s. That's awesome.
Well, that's because Todd is ancient.
I was born in 86.
Oh, well, there you go.
Oh shit, I graduated in 86. Now I'm feeling old.
Yeah, they didn't used to close down Hollywood Boulevard, so it was a lot more fun.
Ashley's on the show with old folks because I graduated 88, you graduated 86, Todd graduated in, 70.
Oh, that's
70. Fuck off. 1982, man.
So yeah, it's the team of old coots. So Ashley, Janelle, we had Janelle Pierce on recently, and she had given you the shout out and says you need to get her on. You need to get her on.
I love her so much.
So we
she likes you a lot too.
Yeah. And then I heard you recently on with Sunny too, Sunny Megatron.
Oh, Sunny Megatron is such a rock star. I appreciate her and Ken more than I can adequately explain.
I know, they're really great.
So delightful.
We're bringing them out. We run Club Ascension too. This is kind of an extension of the club, the podcast that we started.
Awesome. Where does that happen?
Detroit.
Oh, excellent. Do you know Zoe from Spectrum Boutique?
No, I don't.
She's right in Detroit.
By face. Is she?
Yeah, she's Thongria on social media.
Why
what about you, Todd?
Familiar?
Yeah, that does sound
familiar, but I just can't place where I've heard of her.
She's really big on especially Instagram. She has a show on YouTube, but I can totally connect you. She's phenomenal and hilarious, and she has an online sex shop that's based in Detroit.
Oh, sweet.
I will bet it's probably from Twitter is where I've came across her.
Totally.
Yep.
That would be cool if we could link her up.
Yeah.
I love sex shops.
Well,
sex shops are awesome.
We need vendors because, like I said, we're bringing in Sunny for Memorial Weekend. We're running a big event on Memorial Weekend. We're raising the chickens now to slaughter for the chicken barbecue.
Oh, I'm so jealous.
Oh, thank God you're not a vegetarian.
Oh, fuck no. I washed my steak down with bacon.
Awesome.
So, yeah, we brought them in, and Dan and Dawn. I was trying to bring Gray Dancer in, but he's got something going on.
She's great, too. Okay, so we know a lot of the same amazing humans. That's neat.
Yes. So it's a good thing. And the reason I brought you on is CannaSexuality, because you seem to be the go-to person for CannaSexuality.
Okay, first off, I need to know what CannaSexual.
Yeah,
okay, so
I don't know what that
I'm
is.
old, so like we discussed, I'm
and
old.
I'm blonde, so
I'm blonde too.
Yay!
So I need to find out what CannaSexuality is. Can you maybe give me a 2-second rundown on it?
So CannaSexual is a word that I made up and then subsequently trademarked that refers to anyone who mindfully and deliberately combines sex and cannabis to deepen intimacy and enhance pleasure, whether solo or partnered. So if you have ever used cannabis to make your sex life better or less uncomfortable or less painful or more connected, then you have engaged in CannaSexual activities.
You just you just described my last 3 years of high school.
Excellent.
You know?
Yeah, pretty much the whole 80s for me.
Do you have a book?
Not yet.
You need a book.
Thank you. When I have a publisher and preferably a ghostwriter, I will have a book.
Well, she has been. I mean, you've gotten published quite a bit for articles and things.
I have. I've published over 120 articles, so I should probably just turn those all into a book.
Oh yeah,
combine them all together. You got a book.
Right.
You know,
I've heard of people doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I mean, she's been on the Huffington Post, Newsweek, LA Weekly, Viceland.
Thank you. Sounds cool when you say it.
It's always better when somebody else toots your horn.
She's been rocking it out, Sexpert of the Year with XBiz. So, and you do coaching too. So is that sex therapist coaching? What kind of coaching is it?
So I'm not a therapist. I'm not a licensed mental health professional.
Okay.
But I am definitely like a head coach / cheerleader for people's sex lives and relationships, where I can show you some new plays and things that you may not have considered before. And like, I'm really good at thinking outside the box, and also like communication, which is where most couples break down. Like one person is saying something, the other person's hearing something different. And so I end up playing translator. Right. And being like, okay, so if you're actually asking for this, well, what if I pose it to your partner like this? And they're like, oh, well, that's okay. I can get behind that. And I'm like, all right. So, and then we just kind of go from there, and it's off to the races.
Yeah, I think everybody should have a relationship coach. Somebody else.
Fully agree.
Somebody who sees, because they're not connected to the whole thing. They're not emotionally vested. So they can see things differently, and they can call people out like, hey, you're being a cunt, or hey, you're being a douche, you know?
Right. Exactly. And like, I don't need to know your life story. I don't need to know about your toxic family of origin shit. Like, I just need to know what's going on right now so that I can help you kind of see things that you can't.
Right.
Right. Me and T-Bone, I'm an indirect communicator and she's a direct communicator. It leads to some interesting misunderstandings.
Yeah,
that's it definitely can.
Yep. She's very black and white. I'm a million shades of gray. So
I think we need to introduce cannabis.
I know, right?
That can really help like smooth the conversations. My friend Molly and her husband have like a peace pipe when things get really intense. They're like, all right, let's just smoke about it, calm down, and try again. Like,
yeah, take a step back.
Right.
Do you find that actually helps kind of open up communication between people?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. If people can kind of bring down their blood pressure a little bit, because once you start to get really activated and into something, and the tensions start flaring, you're not thinking rationally anymore. Like once your heart rate gets above about 100 beats a minute, like you're fully in animal brain, and you're not necessarily being compassionate. You're not necessarily even being rational. And like, it's something that we all do. And so cannabis can kind of help bring you back into like the good to go zone, and like, okay, we've walked away, we've calmed down. Like now we can come back and think, creatively about solutions and connect.
Okay.
Awesome.
So I will admit that I really haven't used cannabis since Ronald Reagan was president. Everybody needed to use cannabis when Ronald Reagan was president. It was kind of required.
Yeah. They kind of need it now too.
Yeah,
I know, right?
So I found out as I got older, I did, I tried it not that long ago, and I just don't care for the smell of it, and it gave me a funny kind of, maybe just older person brain, or not doing it for so long, kind of messed it up.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it's so strong smell now. Like, yeah,
I remember in high school,
infinitely stronger than it was in the 80s and 70s.
Yeah. So I haven't really done it, but what I can imagine is it's probably very therapeutic in that sense, where for a lot of things, I should say I am all for legalization. I am a strong proponent of legalization nationwide.
Awesome.
But because it's kind of a wonder drug in a lot of respects. It does have therapeutic benefits across a lot of different things. But I mean, for communication, because I don't remember ever communicating a lot when I was high, but maybe that's because we were watching Monty Python.
Right.
So, but I mean, do you find that people like open up and they're able to express emotions better and things like that? I
find that that's true with the right product and strain.
Okay.
Because they each do different things depending on how much food you've had that day, what your tolerance is, what method of consumption you're using, whether you're smoking or eating or vaping or tinctures or topicals, like everything's a little bit different. Oh. And then the strains themselves like vary so widely in the phenotypic expression and like the different cannabinoids and terpenes that are present in each strain that can really change the variables a lot. So it's, would I say cannabis generally is going to make you communicate better? No, because it might totally shut you down. But if you find the right strain or product that like helps you kind of get out of your head and slow down and like be more articulate, they are out there.
Oh, okay. There's a whole science behind this.
Oh, there's totally a science behind it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it seems really complicated.
It's very complicated. It's fine. It helps to have somebody kind of like guide you through, oh, okay, you want to do this?
That's why you need a book.
That's why I need a book.
That's why you need a book.
Well, you got your sativas and your indicas. And the way I've always remembered them is indica is in the couch. And the sativas, the
and I totally in the couch.
Sex. I remember when I was younger, I don't remember what strains they were, but it had to be some
kind of. They didn't have strains back then. They had skunkweed and something else.
But it was like this body buzz. So when you're having sex, it almost made the orgasm so intense that you literally would pass out. You would see stars from the orgasm.
Yeah.
And
He's still trying to find that strain.
I'm still trying to find that again. I swear to God, I'm still trying to find that. And it's got to be some kind of mix between sativa and indica, because indica's more body, where sativa's more heady.
And that's not even necessarily always true anymore. That was true, like even a decade ago or a couple decades ago, when it was like mostly landrace strains. Mm-hmm. But now everything's a hybrid. So like my Granddaddy Purple might have, its traditional parents of like blueberry and OG Kush, or I'm totally making that up. Or it could have like a bunch of different parents, and they just called it Granddaddy Purple because it's kind of purple. So like, or they say that it's indica because the lineage suggests indica, but it's not actually, it didn't express that way, or the terpene profile is such that like it gets real complicated. That cannabis becomes a thing where you can't generalize anymore. Like, it's like I've had indicas that keep me up all night, and I've had sativas that make me sleepy.
Holy crap! You need like a doctorate degree to be a grower these days.
You definitely need to have like some serious chemistry knowledge to be a grower, chemistry and biology. And I mean, certainly anyone can do it if they want to just like get high. But like if you're looking for it to do specific things, you have to get a little nerdy with it.
Right. Well, and I imagine that's kind of your goal, is you kind of need to get because you're really looking to do specific things with it. I mean, you're trying to use it to advance sexuality and help people, bring better sexuality into their lives. You're going to want to get a little nerdy about it,
Exactly. And so I tell people to keep notes on it. Like there's a company called Gold Leaf that makes this patient journal that has like really cool pages where you can write down like, here are the symptoms that you're trying to treat, and here is the dosage, and like, where did you get it? Did you smoke it, vape it, dab it, eat it, apply it? Does it have lab test results? Write those down. What temperature did you consume it at? And then like a timeline of how long like it took to notice results, and like a summary of experiences. And so I want to do something like that specifically geared towards sex.
That would be that, where you could, how long was your sexual encounter? What was your orgasm like?
Right. Could you orgasm? Did you notice yourself being really talkative? Were you more in your body, or were you in your head? Did you notice like heightened sensory input, new erogenous zones? Like
that would totally suck if you were just like talking the entire time.
Right.
Like, I don't think I'm going to get laid tonight because blah, 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 blah.
I talk a lot during sex. So.
I've been there. I've had strains or whatever that they make me so high. All I do is laugh. I mean, I'm literally laughing for like a half hour straight, and then I instantly pass out and I'm done. I'm just done. It was weird. And then I've had other strains that are like complete body, with a little bit of head, so I could sit there and talk and think that I'm the next yogi,
right,
or something, and I'm so enlightened, but I'm sure I sound stupid as hell. So yeah, I get where you're saying that the science is finally catching up to it, and making it better.
It is.
So coaching is kind of a new thing. Now I got an offshoot to this because most of the time we're kind of kink slanted.
Cool.
We tend not to preach or we tend to preach don't mix BDSM play with alcohol. Mixing BDSM and cannabis. What are your thoughts there?
I think it's something that has to be done very, very carefully, but there are ways to do it that would not impact consent at all. Namely topicals. If you have a top who is doing a heavy impact scene and they have, let's say, arthritis in their throwing shoulder, they could apply a topical to give them more stamina. And,
wait, really?
Oh, absolutely.
I've got issues with my shoulders, and it's gotten to the point where I can't really throw floggers anymore.
There you go. It's a very labor-intensive activity and repetitive. And if you could put a topical on and really help with that pain level and that discomfort, you'd be able to do it for a lot longer. And you're not touching your head at all. Like you don't have to worry about losing touch with your sub or not, missing a cue or missing a safe word. Like you're still completely present, but you're still getting the benefits.
Are the topicals more CBD laden?
It depends. Sometimes they're a mix of CBD and THC. Sometimes they're just THC. Sometimes they're just CBD. There are options for people who live across the country.
What's CBD?
CBD is cannabidiol. It is one of the compounds in cannabis, like THC, that interacts with your body's CB1 and CB2 receptors, which we just discovered in like the mid 90s that we actually have a whole system that interacts with cannabinoids. And CBD is the non-psychoactive one. So it's anti-inflammatory. They're finding it to be antispasmodic, anti-anxiety, and it doesn't have any kind of head high because it doesn't attach to the receptors the way that THC does.
Oh, okay.
I drink CBD water a lot because of the anti-inflammatory effects.
Right.
I had no idea that even existed. I knew THC, what that was. That one I knew the letters, but I had no idea about CBD.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's really cool. And I think that's becoming more popular in the mainstream because it's available in all 50 states. There's a company called Apothecana that makes CBD topicals that are really good, like pain relieving sprays. And it's also mixed with like arnica and different like awesome stuff. And you can ship it to all 50 states.
That has a legalization status of completely legal across the country, basically.
Yes. THC is the part that's illegal.
Gotcha. Now, where is it in your area, Ashley? I need to ask that. I mean, what's the legalization status in where you're at?
In California, it is medical and recreational here.
Okay.
So we've had medical since 1995 or 6. And then just in January 2018, we went recreational for everyone 21 and older.
Gotcha. Which has got to be much better.
It's interesting. They sort of passed the law without finishing it. So there's a lot of hurry up and wait happening. Like we're actually waiting for the laws to be written in real time. And they've done some things and then realized they sort of fucked it up a little bit. So they're like walking the regulations back and then they're kind of rolling out new ones. And so it's a very tumultuous time in the industry.
That's the government way.
Yes, exactly. But for the consumer side, people are really excited to have access to just be able to go to a dispensary and buy things, even though the taxes are really high. It's an exciting time in California.
Yeah, the taxes on everything in California are really high. So
these are like extra super high. Like,
oh, really? Okay.
Oh, yeah. Well, the difference between recreational and medical cannabis in California is like $10+ per sale.
Wow, that's surprising.
Well, they want to keep the 70% of the GDP of the U.S. or something like that.
Is the state regulating that?
Yeah, the state has the regulations around taxing there's like an excise tax and there's some kind of 15% tax on top of everything else. And I don't even know all of the taxes.
Do you buy it from them like they do with liquor in some states?
No.
Okay.
No, they are licensing dispensaries and delivery services and distribution directly through manufacturers. So
Oh, okay.
But it would have to make being it would have to make being a CannaSexual much easier if the state is allowing recreational.
Certainly much easier than in prohibition states. Like I have friends in Pennsylvania who are like, what can I do? And I'm like, I mean, I can't tell you what to do in a prohibition state because I don't want to go to jail.
You can move.
Yeah, you can move.
Right?
Exactly.
Yeah, Michigan's got the medical marijuana laws. So there's that. And then I think they're making steps. They're trying to get it on the ballot for next year or later this year for recreational. And they think it's going to pass, but who knows?
Yeah.
It would just raise money for Legalize Now through another grant. So
Right. It's hard telling. There for a minute, because the governor here was signing a new bill in, they were talking about having to shut down all of the dispensaries for a short bit till the law was enacted, and then basically like what you're talking about, how they're trying to write it real time. And then they worked around it so that people who did need their medicine that still relied on the dispensaries, who wouldn't have a way to get it anywhere else, were able to still get it. So it's hard telling. It's a brave new world. That's the new rebellion for this time and era.
It absolutely is.
I like rebellion.
Me too.
I find the whole thing kind of asinine because it's legal in some states recreationally. Obviously, California,
Colorado, Washington.
It's legal for medical. Colorado, Oregon,
Oregon too,
Washington. But then at the same time, it's still federally illegal, and I'm like, how does that all work? How does that actually work?
What that looks like in real time is we can't advertise on social media. We can't get bank accounts. We are constantly worrying that Sessions will wake up one morning and decide to declare war on the cannabis industry. And he already has in some ways.
Right.
So it's a lot of fear. There's still a lot of black market stuff happening. And then, of course, you see a lot of people getting targeted for cannabis offenses.
Okay.
So it's still a very tumultuous industry. Like we're trying to get our footing. It's kind of like what the adult industry went through 25 to 40 years ago when there was the censorship and people getting arrested for obscenity laws and like all that kind of stuff. That's sort of where we're at these days.
Yeah, that would have been back in the 60s and 70s, I believe.
73.
Yeah.
But so it has to impact how you. Does that have an impact on how you kind of promote what you do and talk to people and try and get out there what you're doing?
It definitely complicates things. Like I don't even touch the plant. I don't sell infused products. Like my business is all knowledge based, but because CannaSexual is my brand, like social media is like, screw you. You're not advertising. Like you can't have, Eventbrite could shut down my events. PayPal could shut down my thing if they wanted to. Like, even though I don't deal directly with the plant, it's definitely limiting.
Well, they still do that with podcasts and things too. Anything that mentions sex, if sex is mentioned, forget it. They're all up in arms about it. So yeah,
it's just that prude fucking nation.
Well, yeah, it's one thing to be a prude, but I imagine it's got to be really difficult when you're dealing with something that is technically where you're at legal, but then it maintains this quasi legal status around the country, and it's got to be difficult, and of course, I'm sure social media is always really uber cautious about it. Because they don't want to be seen as promoting drug use, even, the Schedule I drug, for God's sakes. It's like promoting heroin. I'm like,
which is so not the same thing, and yet they totally treat it the same way. I said to my roommate the other day, I'm like, I think I'm still like about 15 or 20 years ahead of the curve, because like there's a lot of people who still have a lot of stigma about cannabis and dealing with the legalities. And there's people who still have a lot of stigma about sex. And talking about sex and non-monogamy, and like I have herpes and I talk about living with herpes and it's not a big deal, and people freak out about that, and like
you're way ahead of the curve on these things. You're like doubly ahead of the curve now.
It's a lot.
I know. Well, it is a lot, but I think it's, the people that will stand out there and still take, because I know you're taking smacks to the face for standing up
for sure
and speaking your mind.
I can't read the comments ever.
Right. It's ridiculous, but those folks like yourself are the ones that are kind of paving the way for the future.
You got to start somewhere.
Right. And it's the one positive thing that you can take from it to help get you out of bed every morning from all the other idiots out there who try to keep you down.
And don't look at it.
Yeah. I mean, the reality is cannabis has been used for all kinds of things. Why wouldn't it be used why wouldn't it be used in a therapeutic sense for sexuality, to enhance your sexuality or explore your sexuality, or, in some fashion like that?
It seems like so many women are just self-conscious about their bodies. And I mean, what's the difference between that and going to the bar and having a couple drinks? It's designed, it's going to lower your inhibitions and it's going to make you feel more free. And who doesn't want to feel more free, and why shouldn't you?
It's absolutely great for helping people like get out of their heads and kind of quell some of that anxiety and all the things that we're told that we're, not pretty enough, not thin enough, not fit enough, not whatever enough, fill in the blank, not young enough. Right. We have a lot of ageism in our society.
Well, I was going to ask, so what do you find in the people when you do like talks or seminars, your events, what do you find people really want to focus on the most? I mean, in your experience?
The most common thing is, am I normal?
You yourself,
it's
or them?
So much. Not me personally. Like the question from the audience, the thing that comes up over and over again in different facets is, am I normal? Is it okay that I use toys to masturbate? Is it okay that I want to shave in a certain way, or I don't want to shave? Or is it okay that I have hair here, or that I don't like to wear makeup, or like whatever it is? People just want to be reassured that they're okay. And
really,
like a lot of stuff comes up around like that they're supposed to act a certain way or be a certain way, or their sex is supposed to manifest in a certain way. And people get really hung up on like, am I normal? Variations of am I normal?
Wow.
And the answer,
I had no idea.
Yes, you're definitely normal, just like everyone else.
So that's a big part of what they're coming for, is just that reassurance that, hey, I'm not completely a freak.
I'm not a freak. I'm not broken. I'm not worthless. Like,
and isn't it strange that we need a stranger to tell us that?
It is.
I mean, why do we need a stranger to tell us that we're okay? I mean, everybody is okay. Really? I mean, you're just you. What the fuck? Right? Nobody else is like you.
Well, and I'm just fascinated that is the fact. And here's why I'm really fascinated about it, Ashley, is because if it was 30 years ago, I could see that. Mm-hmm. I could understand, because there wasn't a lot of information available quickly and easily and readily. And you had a lot of oppressive culture going on. If this was like the early 1960s or the early 1980s or, something along those lines, I could see that. But today, I mean, we are a very tolerant, progressive culture for the most part. Well, we are. We have people trying to drag us back.
Well, Todd, you're with, some of us that stick around mostly in the fetish crowd, which makes it feel like it's more open. But once you pop your head into the vanilla world, you realize just how closed-minded and pain in the ass it is.
No, but I mean, like, you could go online at any point and you can get a lot of validation that this is okay and that's, this is normal and that's normal. I mean, decent sexual education is available online.
But you have to know that it exists and where to look for it, because most people go to Cosmo.
Correct.
Or they go to YouTube.
Oh, okay.
That's a good don't get me wrong. I know some amazing educators who are on YouTube and they're phenomenal. Like Lindsay Doe and Zoe Ligon is on YouTube, and like there are some great ones. But you have to sift through a lot of bullshit and a lot of very like coffee table book kind of sex advice, where like all he wants is for you to give him a deep throated blowjob. Make sure you swallow. It's good for you. Like, oh God, that kind of very gross generalization.
7 ways to please your man.
Yeah, exactly.
I know. And why is it always about the man? Why is it always about pleasing the man? I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm male. Fuck, we like to be pleased. But why is it all everything you see out there? Even the Cosmo articles are 10 ways to please your man, 10 ways to make sure he stays home, 10 ways for him to do this for him. And
because we're taught that we're not complete unless we have a fucking douchebag.
We're a patriarchal society, Paul.
A man. Unless we have a man and you're oppressing us because men oppress women.
We're still a patriarchal organization. I mean,
why is it always about the man? Okay, first of all, why do you make it all about the man?
I got her fired up now.
It's good. No, it's needed.
No, not.
We're just still a patriarchal society.
We
that's
are.
Why. I mean, that's apparent when you look anywhere.
Yeah, and we socialize people who are socialized feminine. Like, your job is to stay pure, whatever that means, until you meet the love of your life, and then you're supposed to marry him, which is super heteronormative, and then you're immediately supposed to become a sexual dynamo, because if you're not, then he's going to cheat on you, and then at some point you pop out kids and find time to have a career and kids and keep your husband happy so he doesn't cheat and stay in this perfect body that never ages. Like, holy fuck. No wonder people want to know that they're normal.
And if he cheats.
And if he cheats, it's your fault because you've let yourself go in some way.
Because, you're Hillary Clinton. That's Hillary Clinton, the big hit on her. Well, Bill cheated, so therefore she's a terrible person.
Right. It's so,
I'm like, what?
So absurd.
Because she took him back. That's what was, people were pissed because she took him back.
Yeah, I know people that didn't vote for her just because she stayed with him.
That people did. And like, what does that say about us and the way that we judge people's private lives?
Yeah. Yeah, right? Nobody knows. Nobody was in that.
We're still very closed-minded. Unlike Todd thinks that we're very open and progressive. No, we're not.
No, I'm saying we have resources now that we didn't have 30 years ago. Or
yes,
you know what I mean? There is in a sense, people today will get, high schoolers or middle schoolers will get a better sex education from public school than I got.
No, I disagree there too.
No, because most of them are preaching abstinence.
A lot of them are preaching abstinence.
Oh, well, maybe just the school my daughter went through, because her sex ed was pretty good. I mean,
there are pockets of it, but if you're in rural Alabama, you're not getting progressive sex ed.
Okay, that's true. They did mention abstinence, but they just treat it like another thing. It's, there's abstinence, and then of course you're not going to. So here's all the other real stuff.
Texas, Oklahoma,
Pennsylvania,
Utah,
where I grew
Wyoming.
Up, we got abstinence only, and that was it.
Yeah, abstinence only,
and a public school. This wasn't even a religious school. This is a public high school. Yeah, and that was 2003, 2004. Like, we're not talking the 80s.
Yep. Yeah. Education. It's pretty bad out there. I'm gonna have to take you out more, Todd. I'm gonna have to pull off the button. Because you know what I'm gonna off your head.
Like, I don't say fucking Republicans enough.
Yeah.
Come on, Paul.
Can we get a fucking Republicans?
I know, fucking Republicans.
Ugh. Okay.
That's Todd's mantra.
That's my mantra.
For the last. Yeah. You get him going on.
Don't get me started.
So you're also obviously you're an educator. You've got several different classes that you go out and do. Do you travel much to do your classes? Are you pretty local oriented?
This year so far, I've been in Denver. I've been in Vegas. I was up in Sacramento for the weekend. This weekend, I'm going down to Coachella Valley to teach and offer one-on-one coaching at a women's retreat called the Ganja Goddess Getaway.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be 100+ women doing a weekend of self-care, and I'll be talking about like finding your inner sex goddess.
Now, are your classes mostly geared towards women or couples?
Mine are all genders. I identify as queer. I'm an equal opportunity slut. And so since I play with people of all genders, I want all people of all genders to feel welcome at my workshops.
Awesome.
But what do you predominantly see? Women?
I see a lot of cis women. I get some trans folks and non-binary folks at my events for sure. I see a fair few couples of varying genders. But I teach, my most popular class is my hand sex sampler class, where I teach pussy massage, cock massage, and prostate massage.
Wow.
And I actually do live demos at my workshops. So last year I did one at Stockroom, and like Nina Hartley was my vulva demo bottom.
Nice.
And
she's got a very pretty vulva too.
She does. And she's very talented in explaining things. So like when I'm demo bottoming on her, or when she's my demo bottom, it's tough to tell who's teaching, because like she's so full of knowledge and it's awesome. But she's also really good at just like taking direction, because she's a service sub too.
Right. Yeah, I'd really like to get her on the show at some point in time.
I could totally connect you guys. She's lovely.
Or possibly bring her in. Well, we may have to talk about bringing you both in for an event out at the club too. So
cool. You better let me send the message though.
I know, right? Well, I'm like, oh man, she didn't answer me, but she answered you.
Ashley, when I sent he sent you a message asking you to be on the show, and he's like, I didn't hear from Ashley. And I was like, well, maybe she just got lost in the mail, or,
I think it got caught in spam.
I totally got caught in spam.
And I said, well, let me send one from mine. And so I sent one, and you answered, and he was like pouting for like days.
Oh no. Oh, I'm so sorry.
Not your fault. I realize.
Also, my email is like a jungle.
Everybody's is
it all the time.
That's what I told him. I said, just send another one. You don't know.
Oh, totally. Send another one. Always send another one. I'm really good with my no's. So if it was a no, you would know. Nice.
So we're talking about trying to do a hotel takeover next year. So
that would be so cool.
So then I'm going to definitely need some popular people to come in and teach some really fun classes.
Yeah, I'm so down. Like my whole jam with travel is I just need my travel expenses covered and stuff, because
Oh yeah, those can rack
when
up.
You're in business for yourself.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, and I love it when they like pay for your travel too.
Right, because then you get to go to new and exciting places for free.
Right.
I know. Yeah, the thing that we could travel for would be how to do barbed wire suspension and shit like that.
Fuck.
We do. We play on the deep end of the pool.
That's amazing. I mean, I'm a totally fluffy bunny bottom, so that wouldn't work out so well for me, but I would go to that class.
Tony or T-Bone, her first foray into BDSM was me throwing her, oh yeah, come on, and throwing her up in barbed wire.
Damn.
Yeah.
No, I think you spanked me once before that.
Oh, okay.
I'm totally a sadistic voyeur. I watched my friend get flogged at Bar Sinister over the weekend, and I was just like, yes, hit her harder.
I know, Sunny.
That's Sunny a slippery slope right into sadism.
Yes,
I know, right?
Sunny and Ken, they want to see the barbed wire class. So
I bet they do.
They were like, make sure you don't schedule it at the same time that you got us up there. I will. I'll make sure.
I love them so much. Sunny and Ken, if you're listening, you're fucking amazing.
Yeah, that's going to be fun come Memorial Weekend. That's for sure.
I can't wait to meet them in person. But that'd be cool if you could come out too.
Yes.
Yeah, keep me posted. I would be so into that. And I don't think I have plans for Memorial Day as of now.
Woohoo!
Really?
There you go.
Really?
Ooh.
I don't know. Can you handle like 2 big mega stars?
I don't know. I'll have to. I'll be
mega.
I'll be doing some typing and figuring out.
Trying to figure that shit out. Yeah, he'll be like running numbers. He'll be at it all night. I think I can do it.
I think I can pull this one off. Let's do it. Oh, I love hearing things like that.
I hear puppies.
Yeah, they're whining a little bit. We've got Rottweiler puppies here.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, we got
10 of them.
Yeah,
10 of them. Jesus, that's. I don't know what they're
like little shit
factory called, but is it like a?
It's a lot.
Yeah. It's crazy. I think it's just a litter.
A litter. Okay.
Yeah, they don't call them anything but crazy.
Yeah, just it's crazy.
You're insane.
Yeah. Sweet.
So what got you into the whole I'm going to teach this shit?
So, being a sexual assault survivor, I got into sexual violence prevention and awareness really early on. Like that was my way of trying to kind of understand my trauma, was to learn about it and to help and prevent it from happening to other people. Like that was kind of part of my reclamation process. And that work was really great and powerful. And then I burned out really hard because that happens. So I decided to sort of pivot and focus more on the pleasurable aspects of sex, because I was always very comfortable with sexuality from a young age. Like I always masturbated, and like I was the one who was nerdy and talking about birth control in high school. Like I was sort of sex ed for my friend group. Like I would talk about Planned Parenthood and condoms and all that kind of stuff. And then when I grew up a little bit more and got out of college and grad school, like I did vagina monologues, and I worked at Planned Parenthood as a health assistant. I worked at a sex shop, and I learned about toys and lubes. And I was like, well, blowjobs are something that people are pretty bad at, and I could totally teach people how to do that. And I'd been teaching, on and off in like little pockets. And then I just kind of made it bigger and bigger. And I went to my first conference in 2013, and I met other people who were doing it professionally. And I was like, oh, this is a thing that people do. I could do more of this.
Yeah. This is my calling.
This is my calling. And even then, like I didn't start doing this full time until 2015. Like I still had a regular 9-to-5 kind of job. Like I worked as a phone sex operator for a year, but for the most part, I had like normal 9-to-5-y kind of jobs, even though they were sex industry adjacent. Like I worked at the Pleasure Chest, which was great.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but you still had a day job.
But it was a day job. And
you couldn't travel at will. You couldn't do all the things that you're doing now.
Now
You couldn't live.
I couldn't live. Well, now I can live. I just can't afford it.
Well, yeah, out in California. Yeah. But I've heard that there's like colleges have classes on blowjobs.
They do. I've actually taught blowjob classes at colleges.
Now, see, we've had this discussion before about how
for that students do.
Teaching blowjobs, you can learn that from porn for the most part, but you can't learn eating pussy from porn.
I mean, certainly most porn. I would say you can learn that from instructional videos that are made by porn.
Eating pussy?
Or any of the sex acts. Like watching porn to learn how to do a sexual skill is like watching pro wrestling to learn how to do actual wrestling. Like you're watching a very theatrical, entertainment oriented version of those sex acts. Right. But like Jessica Drake has her whole wicked guide to fellatio, wicked guide to cunnilingus, wicked guide to lap dances and sensual massage and like pretty much anything you can think of. Nina has a line of sex ed DVDs. Tristan Taormino does as well. So you can find that kind of instructional material, but like to actually watch porn for those skills would be limiting. I think you'd have a very specific kind of skill set.
Gotcha.
I just don't think there's enough guys out there who know how to eat pussy.
I mean, that's real.
Well,
that's legitimate.
So how do we get them to watch those fucking videos?
And Tony feels like there's never enough dick too. So
there isn't.
So good.
I'm just saying.
Yeah,
I'm saying there's never enough dick. There's never enough. If women can have multiple orgasms and most men can't, there's never enough dick because there's only once it's done, it's done.
Oh, but there are so many other things you can do with it, even if it's not hard. Like flaccid penises are totally fun to play with, and then there's hands and toys. Like I fully reject the premise that sex stops when the ejaculation of the penis happens.
Oh, I'm gonna have to figure out what to do with the flaccid penis.
Oh, dude,
then.
come talk to me. I'll take care of you. I love flaccid cocks. They're just so much fun to play with.
Now she's going to be hounding me to get you in for Memorial.
I need her here.
Besides torturing, though, right? Because you're not talking about torturing, because I could totally get into that, too.
I could totally get into that, too. But no, this is fully pleasure focused.
Well, they like it. And I like it. So I think it's pleasure focused.
Oh,
porcupine needles.
No,
porcupine needles.
I wouldn't like it. I can tell you that.
Why? We're not talking about you, Todd.
I know, right?
Yeah. Paul, would you like it?
No.
We're not talking about Paul either.
Me no bottom.
Just talking about general flaccid penises. That's all we're talking about.
General flaccid penises are awesome.
So You got anything you want to?
Sounds like an officer.
You got anything you want to plug there, Ashley?
Yeah, absolutely.
Any upcoming classes and things? Plug away, girl.
So let's see. When is this going to air? Because that will depend on what I plug.
Next Saturday. Next Saturday.
This Saturday.
No, this Saturday.
This Saturday, the 20-something. 4th. Okay.
4th.
So by the time you're listening to this, it will be too late to go to the Ganja Goddess Getaway. However, in April, I am doing a class in Los Angeles on April 8th. That's called Empower Her. And it's going to be with me and Ashley Asatu from the organization Yogasm. And it's going to be at a pole studio in LA. And I will be teaching actually an oral sex class. And Ashley will be teaching about embodiment and using your body for pleasure and taking care of your muscles and how to stretch in ways that are really beneficial to making sex better. And it's going to be a really great time. And it will be, of course, cannabis friendly. So check that out. And if you are listening to this and you want to see me for coaching, if you use coupon code Ascension, I will give you 15% off a coaching package with me. And I do bi-weekly. So it's 16-week coaching package with bi-weekly sessions. So it's 8 sessions for $3,000. So 15% off of that.
Cool.
That's nice.
Very cool.
Hopefully we can send a whole bunch out your way.
I would be so into that.
Definitely with the California rates.
Yes, definitely.
I think we've pretty much got this one covered. Cool. Anything else you guys got? Any final thoughts you want to run? I know everybody. I think Todd's wanting to run, and I know Ashley's got an appointment she's got to get to.
Yoga.
Yay.
I got orgasms that are owed me.
Yeah. So I guess. All right. I guess we'll call it good there. Have a good one, folks.
Thanks,
Thank you so much
Ashley.
for having me. This was a blast.